Gazing back up at the shop, I could see meats of every variety spread over the room, some hanging from the ceiling, other tied on hooks, and yet more fresh-cut meat was organized into chunks with little signs depicting what cut of meat you were looking at. I felt homesick. Millie would have known what to do. I missed her greatly. Coming back to the present, I found my gaze falling back on the young woman the butcher had introduced briefly. Her long flowing hair was beautiful, I realized. Stannon would be expecting me back soon, no doubt. But what could I give the butcher that would pay for the sausages? I had no time to give, in truth. Stepping over to the counter, I looked over at the meat counter. Several thick blood sausages had been wrapped there in white paper, smeared with only a little blood. If I could just... The butcher walked over with a heavy step, eyes dark and wary. "I thought I told you to stand over there, lad." The butcher's words were clipped and unfriendly. I nodded numbly, but did not step away. "I still have more customers. You'll just have to wait." With a tisking sound, the butcher stepped back towards the line of customers, brow furrowed. I still did not step away. "You know he's going to get mad and throw you out if you don't do what he says." The young woman's voice caught me by surprise. I turned to regard her. She stood with one hand carrying a bucket, her other hand solidly planted on a shelf of wrapped goods, regarding me inquisitively. "You don't really plan to steal something, do you? The town guard will be all over you in minutes, if he doesn't beat the daylight out of you first." She hiked a thumb over at the butcher, his tall-built form clear, even in his traditional butcher's apron. "Why don't you just go home? I still have work to do here." Just then, her eyes gave warning, as they opened wider, perhaps in apprehension, or maybe fear. A thick, strong hand landed heavily on my shoulder. I shifted my weight quickly, and the butcher's hand slid off before he could gain better purchase. "Boy, I've finished with the customers. Now, what can you offer me as payment? Speak quickly." Stepping backward, out of the older man's reach, I spoke in low, deadened tone. "I have no money, and you don't need help with work, but I need those meats for my master. He will beat me or worse if I come back to him short-handed." Pain was causing a fog around my thoughts. My arms still burned with agony, as if under a heated blade. I thought I might pass out from the pain, but stayed conscious somehow. Clenching my teeth, I got down on my knees and begged. I was looking at myself from the outside. I had nothing. I was nothing. I could feel no fear or shame, because I had no form. I heard a grunt of disgust from the butcher. "Get out of my shop, or I will have you physically removed by the town militia. On your feet now, boy, or I will kick you until you do it." I heard the man lift his leg, and tried to rise before the wind was knocked out of me. I crashed into a wall of meats. Several wrapped packages fell to the ground around me. "You useless scum! Now you made a mess in my shop," the older man bellowed in rage. I felt cold. I felt pain. I felt nothing. Slowly crawling from the shop, heated shouts following me, I stumbled into the street before collapsing in a heap. I was covered in dirt and grime from the floor of the shop, and now the street. I felt nothing. The young woman appeared after a short while, looking down on me with a mixture of revulsion and pity. "What's wrong with you? Why didn't you just leave when I said? I hope you get what you deserve." With that, she quickly stepped back into the shop. I silently stood, looking down at my hands, pain emblazoning every sense. I felt nothing. I felt hollow. I rose my arm, the sleeve falling back to reveal the crimson serpent blazing like a forge on my arm. The pain remained. Slowly I stepped forward and peered through the grimy glass windows of the shop. I walked back into the shop, blood bright on my arm. The blood held its shape and did not run down my arm. The serpent remained, traced in fire. The butcher looked up, his expression dark. Then his eyes fell on my arm, and he went quiet as death. Transfixed, he did not move a single muscle. The young woman screamed a sharp cry and backed away, nearly knocking over a shelf of wrapped meats. With slow inevitability, I crossed the room over to the shelf where the blood sausages lay. With a hand that felt nothing, I reached over and pushed 3 blood sausages into a sack. The room was absolutely silent as I painstakingly wrapped the packed meat and pulled the sack over my shoulder. Moving as if in a dream, I slowly left the building. The sign swung softly above. No one stood in the street. I felt nothing as I left. With quiet footsteps, I crossed the empty street and collected the rest of the items on the list. No one spoke, and nothing moved. Alone, I moved through the streets like a whisper in the silent heat. The pain remained. Hi everyone. If you've been enjoying my content and you'd like to support my channel, you can do so at patreon.com/authorsprocess. And it would mean a great deal to me to be able to keep bringing you great content and sharing it with you on multiple platforms. Here is the page that you will see if you choose to support me. And on this page, you will be able to choose what membership level you could support at. Again, only if you choose to. But we have the initial level dedicated to the arts, and then lover of the arts, patron of the arts, and grand patron of the arts. So what you will receive is early access to my content, and then at the higher levels, your name will be listed at the end of each of my videos in a special thanks section. So again, please consider it. It would mean a great deal to me. And thank you so much again. Even if you're unable to support monetarily, just viewing my content is great support as well. So thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you.